Welcome back to another episode of the Neurodivergent Struggles podcast. Today we're talking about trauma
Oh, yeah.
and CPTSD, and we're going to go back to our childhoods, and hopefully it makes you think about your childhood and not just the bad parts, but also the good parts. I'm here with my lovely co-host, Emily, and we're ready to get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Getting into the nitty gritty in this
Yeah.
episode.
Trauma and autism and ADHD.
Trauma.
I find that most individuals who have autism and ADHD have some sort of trauma. And not to say your parents were the worst parents in the world, but sometimes, you were neglected, or maybe people didn't know that you needed the help.
Yeah.
So you were kind of ignored
Absolutely.
unintentionally, and that's still, a form of abandonment.
Yeah.
And you could feel that as an adult in your relationships. Relationships always tend to bring out all the childhood stuff.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I think childhood development is so important.
And your hair looks nice. Just intrusive thought.
Oh my God, thank you. I think childhood development is so important, and how you're raised is so important. The things that are happening when you're an adolescent, they dictate how your life goes and how you act as an adult. I actually took a really interesting class at NYU that was all about the trauma in kids and PTSD in children and all of this stuff, and specifically because it was NYU, talking about kids that were in New York City during 9/11. Super fascinating how trauma, when your brain isn't fully developed, can affect your entire life. If not, I don't want to say taken care of, but given extra care to.
Yeah.
Is very, very interesting. And PTSD and all of that stuff, and how that it wasn't a thing. We talk about PTSD, how it started with women who were hysteric. That was it. It was just women. Now we look back on it and we say, okay, these women were sexually assaulted and that's why they're hysterical. But those were the very beginning signs of PTSD. Then you go into shell shock during World War I. All of these soldiers were coming back home and they were traumatized and having night terrors and all of those things. And of course, then when it affects a man, it becomes a thing. So then it became, after World War II, I believe, or maybe a little bit after, it became what we now know as PTSD. But at first, they thought that it only affected men during the war who would come back from the war. So the history of PTSD is, in itself, I think it's important to note that it is misogynistic. I think that's important to note, that a lot of these mental health issues that we talk about today, even including autism and ADHD, a lot of women don't get diagnosed right off the bat, or at least when we were growing up, it was just little boys that had ADHD and they couldn't focus in class. And took me until I was 28 years old to get diagnosed with autism and ADHD.
Which could be dramatic.
Which can be, my entire life I was living a certain way, and I didn't realize I didn't know how to talk to people. It was a crazy realization to come to at 28 years old. And we touched on this in a previous episode, but yeah, that in itself is traumatic, but all of these kind of mental health issues, them not being given care to growing up, especially as kids, can really affect your life.
Yeah, and I'm definitely interested in hearing your experience, or as much as you like to share, but I believe that every late diagnosed neurodivergent, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, so on and so forth, every late diagnosed neurodivergent has PTSD. Or CPTSD, to be more specific, which is repeated trauma over time.
Yeah.
And the link between autism, ADHD, and CPTSD is often, found in the childhood, and there were certain needs that you were supposed to have that you didn't get,
Yeah.
or things happened to you that shouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Either one of those two. And when this happens over time,
Yeah.
it becomes this whole CPTSD thing. And for me, growing up poor, that's traumatic right there.
Yeah.
Growing up undiagnosed neurodivergent, that's traumatic right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Moving from place to place and not really finding a friend group, it's traumatic right there. Having to grow up faster than most people was
Are you
traumatic.
the oldest out of your siblings?
I'm not. I'm the third of six.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but I feel like the oldest.
Yeah.
I have
Mentally, you were the oldest.
right. I have maybe the most responsibility, which is a blessing. Like things have gone well, but from the age I was 20, I graduated with my RN when I was 20. I started making money and started helping out the family. So anytime you do that, you vacillate back and forth between being a kid, you're your parents' child, and you have to like obey and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you change into being a caregiver,
Yeah.
where you're like a third parent.
Right.
So
Right.
that's definitely affected me from the standpoint of being more avoidant in relationships. Like I connected the dots because sometimes I view a relationship as more responsibility.
It's just another thing on top of all the responsibility
and then
that you already have.
once we have kids, it's as if I never had a chance to breathe. I went straight from being a child to kind of like a third parent.
Yeah. Wow, I never put two and two together with that, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah, all that's CPTSD.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it goes back. There's a reason that we have certain attachment styles, and it's the things that have happened in our life, and they could be stemmed from trauma like that.
Our
and
parents'
long-term.
relationships.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. That's insane. I never connected the dots with that.
Yeah.
I think, and we had an episode, a previous episode, where we talked a lot about relationships, and how you tend to drop out pretty early on, 5-6 weeks. I think because you see, that feeling of taking care of somebody can be nice.
Right.
Because you're like, oh, I'm helping them, or I'm providing for them. That can feel like you're doing a good job, or you're doing the job because you feel like a man because you're providing for your woman or whatever. But that on top of you not having a traditional childhood, or adolescence, or when you're a teenager, that can just add another thing. Like, oh my God, I have to financially take care of somebody else. Like one more person, and then it's kids.
Yeah.
And then what? You didn't have a chance to ever just take care of yourself.
Right. And
that's incredible.
You have to mitigate that by doing things for yourself. And moving to Los Angeles was maybe the first big thing that I did for myself.
Yeah.
And leave the South and come out here and chase my dreams, because you feel like you can't do things for yourself.
Yeah.
And the aftermath of CPTSD looks like a lot of hypervigilance, always being on edge. You're waiting for something bad to happen, because that's how things have been historically for you. And you never get a chance to just be present in the moment and take in everything. So I've had to learn to be present in the moment, to take in everything, the good and the bad, and to not be so on guard and hypervigilant. And if you stay that way for too long, you become paranoid.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Just waiting for something bad to happen.
It's just like, and that's how you can self-sabotage.
Yeah.
Too.
That's one of the ways that I have self-sabotage.
Yeah, you're just waiting, and then finally you're like, you know what, I can just do this myself. Let me get this over with. Let me sabotage something in my life to get over I'm feeling like there's something bad that's going to happen. It's like, let me just do it myself real quick. Mess up my own life. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm wondering, in your childhood, as somebody who grew up with undiagnosed autism and undiagnosed ADHD, how do you feel just not knowing about the diagnosis affected you?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it in our previous episode a little bit. I touched on how the form of autism that I got made it very easy for me in my life to do well in school. And so growing up, I didn't get the attention from my parents when it comes to, hey, maybe we should get both daughters tested for autism or ADHD. Maybe we should take a look at both of them being put on a stimulant or something.
It was never a thought for your parents?
Never. My parents had an inkling that I might have autism just because of things like I hated wearing my jacket and a hat. Like it could be 30 degrees outside and I didn't want to wear a jacket. And like, you know, and I still to this day cannot stand airplane toilets flushing. I have to plug my ears. It's 28 years old and I'm like in the bathroom like this. And you know, so my parents had an inkling that I might be autistic, but the ADHD side of it never really got touched. And because I was doing so well in school and I got really good grades, and my sister then became the priority when it came to ADHD.
And she's older than you.
Yeah, she's a little bit older than me. She's about 2 years. Yeah.
And do you feel like not getting the attention from your parents in those formative years affected you in your relationships? You see a link there? If you don't see one there, there's no link there. But
I've never really thought about it, but sitting back and really thinking about it, I think I love to be taken care of. You know, I think like I love taking care of my partner and like doing things that make his life a lot easier. But it also feels good to just be like taken care of. And not saying that my parents didn't take care of me. They absolutely did. I had an amazing childhood. Do not get me wrong when I say that. But, you know, those little moments and just like really almost, I don't want to say being coddled, but like kind of just like being held by the hand and like, let me help you do this. Let me help you do that. I do enjoy that. But I'm also extremely independent as well. So I do crave those kind of more taking care of moments, but I do love being independent. And I'm like, no, I can buy my own Uber. I can do, you know, like, you don't have to like, let me pay for dinner. Let me do that stuff. I told my boyfriend one time, I was like, I'm an independent bitch and I don't need no man, but I want one. You know, like I want,
oh my goodness.
I want one.
The hot girls of today.
Listen, I pay my own bills. Okay.
Respect.
I bought my own car. Okay.
No,
I paid for my, never mind. Okay. We're not going to go there.
Now I want to hear what you had to say.
I was going to say I paid for my own boob job.
That's impressive.
Thank you.
Those things cost.
They cost a lot of money.
Yeah, I didn't know how much they cost until, I was looking into it for
we were just talking about this last night.
past sex, and I was like, damn, these things cost a lot, and you got the gummy bear implants. Like I got deep into it. I'm like,
you're like, I'm an expert on implants now.
No, and I would look at girls who said that they had boob jobs done, and I would be like, okay, let me guess how many cc's she got. Like I went deep.
Like, can I touch your boobs? Not in a sexual way. Just let me touch it.
I got deep into it. I'm like, you have the gummy bear, you have the Motiva, like.
You know about Motiva.
It was a whole thing. Like I went to
for scientific purposes. He knows about breast implants.
I'm like, okay, this is its own world, and then we'll look at some of the surgeons. I'm like, damn, this surgeon, he doesn't do it right. They're too far apart.
You're like judging these guys.
Yeah, no,
judging the boobs.
Those things cost. Like
I
looked into. I'm like, yeah, they cost.
Yeah.
So, like, congrats.
Thanks
to you for
Thanks.
Paying for your own girls.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, but I say we got off on a boob job tangent there for a second.
You're like, you know too much about boob jobs.
Yeah, I mean, good for you. You should know a lot about boob jobs. But that's not saying that if my boyfriend was like, hey, do you want to get your boobs done again, or like, do you want to do something like that, I'd be like, yeah, sure. If he's offering to pay for it. So I tend to balance in that realm of being taken care of, but also being super independent.
Yeah.
I think romantically I like being taken care of. I think that's what it is. I think romantically I like being taken care of, but when it comes to everyday problems or jobs, I'm very independent.
Yeah. I think there's some sort of independence that's needed,
Mm-hmm.
on the lady side to make you feel, more, just give you more inspiration to take care of her. Because once somebody can take care of themselves, you're like, oh, you're doing all this stuff by yourself.
Yeah.
Let me help you. Let me help you.
Yeah.
Like, I got this, I got that, I got this. But if the girl's not doing anything for herself, you're like, well, I'm like, you're not doing anything.
Right.
You're not helping to move things along.
Right.
So just having that desire to do something for yourself, but still wanting to be taken care of, I think it's a big positive. And even just spinning back to the childhood, sometimes you want to be that childlike version of yourself that didn't get certain things. So even if it's a little bit of attention,
Yeah.
in a certain way, it can make you feel, wanted,
Yeah.
especially if you've been craving that since you were a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely loved by my parents, and they, made sure to raise me as best they could and raise a super polite, hardworking daughter, of course. So I had a great and beautiful childhood. But there is part of me, I am an actor and I'm in the arts, and that, my parents were in the arts as well. So it was kind of, it was going to happen this way, I think, because I'm a very creative person. I think I was going to probably end up in the arts somehow, some way, no matter what. But then to have the opportunity, if I got diagnosed with ADHD, or, it was put on a stimulant in high school, I think I would have had a lot more options. And I did do really well in school. Don't get me wrong. I still got into NYU. So I did really well. But like the idea of going to medical school was like, oh, I don't want to do that because that's so much work. Like, and my head could not be wrapped around the idea of like all of that work. Or like I wanted to be a lawyer, and then I learned how much reading you have to do as a lawyer, and I'm like, I can't even focus for half an hour, let alone have to sit there and read for 6 hours, 7 hours a day, and know the laws and all of these things. And so that really is what stopped me from doing those jobs. It was just the sheer amount of that kind of mental work that goes into those professions. Whereas now my profession, it's a ton of work. It's a lot of emotional work. I did a ton of studying. Believe me, I mean, I studied Shakespeare in London, and I did all these things. That it's a lot of mental work as well. But your everyday is very different, and so I appreciate that as somebody with ADHD. So I probably would have ended up here anyways, but it would have been nice to have the opportunity to go to medical school, or think that, oh yeah, I have the confidence to do something like that.
It's funny you say that, because I feel the same exact way by myself. I really do believe some way, somehow, I would have ended up in Los Angeles. I would have ended up doing comedy. But when I was in middle school, high school, elementary school, in a way you do feel, or at least for me, I felt a bit abandoned, knowing that I had ADHD. Like I knew I had it since I was a kid. And I would see other kids go into the nurse's office and take medication, and they come back and they focus. And I had to raw dog ADHD my whole life. Come to find out at 26, I actually have it, and I get on the medications, and I see how the load became so much lighter.
And is that where a lot of your success started, do you think?
No, the success started around 18, 19. When I went to nursing school, because I was coming off of a unsuccessful 4 years in high school. I barely passed. Got a lot of D's and F's, and like I got into South Alabama, and I did 1 year of prereqs there. And even when I got to college, I didn't learn. I
Yeah.
was playing video games. I was playing Xbox and just playing flag football. And then I looked at my grades and I had like a 50 something in anatomy. So then
Jeez.
me staring at failure in his face, that spurred me into action. So I ended up like passing that class barely with a C. I applied to one nursing school and they took me and I said, you know what? This is my chance.
Yeah.
I'm going to West Alabama and I will not accept failure as an option. And I got most outstanding student.
Wow.
When I go back to campus, I have my name engraved on the floor at West Alabama. So
Really?
I appreciate it. It's a big
Oh my
success story.
gosh.
And that comes from the fear of failure.
Yeah.
And that was my Adderall.
Yeah.
The fear of failure.
Yeah.
And, going back home to my hometown is a failure and getting a job and people being like, oh, he failed out of school. Like I couldn't have that. So that got me to, I worked my ass off.
Yeah.
And you do reach a point where you can only go so far. Because I got to age 26 and I'm taking care of my family financially. I'm doing stuff here. And then I have a girlfriend that I'm not able to give time to.
Right.
And then I have to pay my own bills and I'm still in school. And I just reached a breaking point where I went to go get diagnosed officially. And if I'm being honest, I took a friend of mine saw me. He's like, hey, man, like, you're just like me. You have ADHD. And he offered me a Ritalin. And
We love Ritalin.
And I took it. And for the first time in my life, I could focus. I sat next to him in the library and we were doing our work. I said, this is crazy. I can't believe people are living like this.
Yeah.
The very next day,
Oh, yeah.
made an appointment to go to the doctor. A couple of days later, I went, got the diagnosis, got the medications, and I felt lighter for the first time in my life. And I thought to myself, if I had had this help when I was younger, what could I have become?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm still successful, but I was like, dang it, like.
It would have been so much easier.
Right. So much easier. I wouldn't have hooked up with as many girls. I wouldn't have tried, things that I should have tried.
Yeah.
It would have been more linear of a path.
Yeah.
But just like you said, I'm where I'm supposed to be today, and I'm grateful, and things are going well. But
yeah, I mean, I relate to your story heavily because it was actually my boyfriend who, when I first moved to LA, I was like, we would joke about me having ADHD or autism and whatever, and then he takes Vyvanse like every day, and he needs it for work because he's ADHD, for sure, but we're unsure about the autism, but we think he has that too. So he takes Vyvanse and he gave me a little bit one day, and I remember I was asking his assistant, I was like, do you need any help with anything? Because I'm an actor, and so I had some auditions to do that day, but I didn't have any traditional work to do. So I'm like, oh my God, I need something to do. I have to do something right now. And I was like, this is how people live? Like, they have the drive to do stuff and not just like procrastinate everything they do until the last second. It's insane. So that's what drove me to get diagnosed or to start seeing a psychiatrist and a therapist and get diagnosed with ADHD, and then the autism came too, and I was like, oh, I got both. Like, I'm special. They gave me both. But then that ultimately then led to I was expecting to be put on a traditional stimulant like Vyvanse, but I ended up on Wellbutrin, which I love, highly recommend. And I remember the first couple of days I started taking that, my boyfriend's like, you're a whole new person. You're like, you're so happy. And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and you've cleaned my entire house and put up the Christmas tree. And I'm like, it's like mid-November and the Christmas tree got put up. Because I was like, I just wanted to do something else.
Working
like
overtime.
All of my work was done. So I cleaned the whole house and put up the Christmas tree in mid-November. And he's like, I need to get on this stuff too. And I'm like, yeah, I highly recommend. Anyways, that's just it,
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of people's experiences too, getting just having a friend give you an Adderall.
Yeah, and then you realize what's going on with you.
Make sure it's regulated. Make sure they have an actual prescription for it, and it's not like Adderall you buy off the street, because that's meth. But
and I wouldn't even recommend that. Like, you should not take your friend's medications. I'm just
you can't recommend
telling people
that.
my honest experience, because I like to keep it, 100. But
yeah. But if you are going to do it, make sure that they have an actual prescription for it and take a very low dose. And, I think that's a lot of people's
go
experiences.
to your doctor.
Go to your doctor, but if... Kojo's like doing damage control over.
I got two sides. I have Kojo, then I have Dr. Kojo, who still has all of his licenses. I'm like, hey, go to your doctor and get your official diagnosis. And
I'm not a doctor, so...
Don't take your friend's medications, guys.
Listen to me. The one that doesn't have a medical license.
No, listen to me, guys. Go get your formal evaluation. Don't take meds that are not prescribed to you ever. And if you do, forgive yourself, but there's a right way to do things. Facts. But
you lose your license because of this episode. They're like, oh, wow, Dr. Kojo is telling people to take medication that's not prescribed to them. That's crazy. But I'm sure a lot of therapists do hear that too, where they say, okay, so, or a psychiatrist too. They say, okay, what did you come here for today? Why do you want to start seeing a psychiatrist? And they're like, well, I had an inkling that I had ADHD, and, my friend gave me an Adderall, or my friend gave me this, and it actually like really, really helped me. And I would like to get prescribed a small dose. I'm sure medical professionals see that all the time.
Yeah, I've had many patients come to me and they've told me that same thing. And, even though we don't encourage it, like I told my doctor that.
Yeah.
I told Dr. Pearson, I said, I took a friend's, Ritalin, and I believe I've had ADHD since I was in second grade. I just never had help. I'm overwhelmed. I'm behind. Like I'm financially behind on bills. And just like describing everything to him, and, obviously showing up to the appointment late. Which I show up to all my appointments late.
Yeah.
But that was my primary care doctor, and he, he had been seeing me for a while, and he got me in, and then, after he asked me questions, he's like, yeah, I definitely think you have ADHD. We'll get you your own medications. And he sent it to CVS, and I picked it up, and I was like, yes.
The rest is history. And here you are.
He prescribed me Ritalin. It was Concerta, which is this long-acting Ritalin. So he prescribed me the same medication that I had taken prior to the appointment. So yeah, it helps to have a provider who actually listens and doesn't judge.
Yes.
Which can be, it can be hard to find that sometimes.
Yeah, always tell the truth to your medical providers. And
You don't lie to your doctor.
Yeah, that is for mental health professionals. That's for your primary care physician. Nobody's going to call the police on you if you say, yeah, I've done cocaine, or I drink a bunch underage. Or
so extreme.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of people that would lie to their doctors. Don't lie to your doctors is what I'm trying to say. You should agree with me.
Yeah. You shouldn't lie to your doctor, obviously. But like sometimes if you tell your doctor the truth, it does depend on the provider. But my provider was like, all right, Kojo, don't take meds that aren't prescribed to you. Don't give these meds to anybody else. Here's what you're taking because you have ADHD. And he was very direct with me. So I listened to what he said, and I needed to get the medications over and over. And he writes the prescriptions. So, I listened to my doctor. But I think going unmedicated and just raw dogging ADHD and autism will lead to CPTSD. And you will, feel like there's potential that you miss out on, because you need support. Every neurodivergent individual needs support, and when you go, too long without it, it can lead to burnout. It can lead to loss of self-esteem, and it just puts you in a bad and negative place where, you have to ask yourself, like, what if? Like, what if I had the help? Like, what if somebody looked out after me? What if I wasn't abandoned? What if I had the right medical resources?
For sure.
So I definitely can relate to that. And when you come out, when you come from poverty or come out of it, that definitely can be traumatic.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I don't know how, it looks like you had like a middle class upbringing, like we were poor.
Yeah.
We were like poor, like food stamps poor, or like, getting hand-me-downs from neighbors, poor, like
Yeah.
hella poor. So medical care was not something
Yeah.
that my parents,
Yeah.
like we would go to the doctor,
Yeah.
but I went many years without going to a dentist. I
Yeah.
had a whole lot of gaps, and like fixing my teeth, that's probably what gave me the most confidence. That's the one thing in life that gave me a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
Fixing
For
my
sure.
teeth. So
For sure.
if you can't get the support while you're a child, just get it as an adult. But
It's never too late. For
do
sure.
realize that your parents are probably doing the best that they can.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how I felt. My parents, they did the best that they could with what they had.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. And you came out on top.
Yeah.
Look at where you are now.
Yeah, and I needed that, because with ADHD, you need something pushing you. You have to have a sense of urgency. Something needs to drive you all the time. So I look for new ways to drive I think that's why I always stay busy. And part of the reason why I'm doing stand-up, I need a challenge at every waking moment. Because if I'm not doing hard things, I'm going to slip back into self-sabotage and substance use. I need something hard to work on.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I like putting my head down and going to work. That's why it's difficult to be an actor. You go on long spurts without being on set or doing anything, and you're like, oh, I'm starting to drive myself nuts. But when I'm on set is when I'm like, when I'm working, like I don't care. I could work 12-hour days for an entire month, and I'm going to be way happier than if I'm sitting
you come
at
alive.
home. Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's why I have to create my own content.
Yeah.
Like I feel alive during I love recording days. I love recording days.
Super fun.
I wish every day could be like that.
Right?
Yeah. I wish every day could be like that. But we're almost at the end, so let's read the text post and let's read the question.
Okay.
It's been a dope episode.
Yeah, this is awesome. So, from Facebook, the undiagnosed neurodivergent experience of needing noise to focus but becoming overstimulated by the wrong noise.
Yeah, I can relate to that heavily. I need noise to focus, but it has to be my noise. And this is how I study. I can't study in silence. I need some type of background noise, something that's not too stimulating. Like, it can't be The Last Dance on Netflix, because I want to pay attention to that.
Right.
But it has to be some show I've already watched before. Just
The Office.
The Office.
Yeah.
Or maybe Sports Center reruns.
Oh, yeah. Football game.
Something
6 years ago.
Right, exactly. Like, I'll randomly pull up.
Like, the stakes are so low. You're like, you know who won.
I'll randomly pull up the 1999 AFC Championship between the Jaguars and the Titans.
Dang.
I mean, this is very like niche / autistic.
That's so niche.
And I'll watch that game in the background.
Yeah.
While I'm doing work, because I need that background noise. And then I'll send that game to my brothers, and I'm like, hey guys, this is the 1999 AFC Championship between the Titans and the Jaguars.
Like, you better watch this.
I explained the whole history. I'm like, we beat them 3 times this year. We went to the Super Bowl. And they're like, Kojo, what in the world? What are you talking about?
You're like, I just took my stimulant. Sorry.
Right. I'm talking to everybody. Any and everybody can get it. Any and everybody.
Right now. All right. And we're on to our question. Hi, I think I heard you mention on a live stream that you do monthly things in California for comedy. I'm trying to find an open mic night to get over my fear of speaking after some work stuff. I've been diagnosed with PTSD and ADHD, but pretty sure I have autism and ADHD, especially with relating and understanding the autism ADHD content creators like yourself. So 1, thank you for being a supportive and uplifting voice for the community. But 2, are there times that you and the team will be in California? Would love to get more involved and sign up for your newsletter to learn more.
Okay, so looks like this person has a fear of public speaking, and they're neurodivergent, and they want to know where to start as it relates to comedy and coming to the shows. So, I'll say first up, we have monthly comedy shows in California at the Fourth Wall. That's where I do my monthly comedy shows. Then obviously I'm touring around the U.S., so we may drop the frequency to every other month, but California is home base, so we do have these monthly comedy shows. Then in terms of being afraid of public speaking, Jerry Seinfeld has this good joke about how the number one fear that people have is public speaking, and the second fear is dying. And that at a funeral, that means that people would rather be in the casket than to be given the eulogy.
Yeah.
And I thought that's hilarious because
Yeah.
public speaking is, it's difficult, but when you are present in the moment, it becomes easier. If you're laughing, it becomes easier. When you're doing stand-up and you're bombing, you start to get insecure, and
Yeah.
the best thing that you can do is acknowledge it.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Or even say, oh, I'm a little nervous right now. I apologize. And people start to laugh. So being yourself and, going to open mics. Open mics are a good place to start.
Mm-hmm.
I actually started my public speaking journey by teaching nursing students when I was in grad school. I would bring a group of 8 students to the psych hospital, and I would show them around, and I would teach them about how to be in psychiatry, and we'd go around talking to the patients. So I did that in nursing school, and you talk to a group of 8 people at a time, so you get to address a small crowd. So that definitely helped me with public speaking. Then open mics here in California. There's so many open mics.
Yeah.
They have them at the Hollywood Comedy. They have them at the Fourth Wall. Fourth Wall has 2 spots, one in Hollywood, one in North Hollywood. So those are the main places I go to. And also there's one in Glendale, the Glendale Room. It's a very beautiful and aesthetically pleasing place where they have open mics. I think those happen on Sundays. And obviously the Comedy Chateau has open mics as well that happen on Sundays. And Flappers.
Flappers.
They have open mics.
I love Flappers. Oh, they also have comedy classes.
They do.
Super fun, like improv classes and stuff. My boyfriend took it's like a whole course.
He told
he
me
was
that.
telling you about that, right?
Yeah.
So I love, shout out to Flappers, man.
Yeah.
Flappers.
I wish I had more time that day to talk to him, because I was like, you took comedy classes.
I know.
But speaking of comedy classes, I have taken classes with Greg Dean. Greg Dean and his wife Gayla have comedy classes, both virtual and in person. The in-person classes in Santa Monica. So I have taken those classes. I prefer in person. I'm just on the road a lot. But those classes are very helpful because you get to learn joke structure and you get to learn misdirection. There's certain things that you'll learn, like words that have like a CK, like Mickey, Ficky, are funnier. Then you learn about the rule of 3s. People like to hear things in 3s and misdirection.
Yeah.
All those things are tools that you can use in public speaking. Whenever I do a keynote speech, I use a lot of humor because that's how people, it brings people to the present moment. So if you're on your journey, just know that this is going to help you be much more confident. And you're doing this for yourself, not for other people. And anybody that makes fun of you if you're doing something new, that's not somebody that you should hang out with.
Yeah.
And oftentimes these people live vicariously through you because you have the courage to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And I think also as a neurodivergent person, that's it's healing work. Doing things like stand-up comedy or public speaking, it's healing because you're showing parts of yourself.
Yeah.
Hoping that people will relate to you, and as people connect with you, that feels really good.
For sure. I mean, I think what you said at the very beginning is super, super important. That, and I teach Shakespeare to high school kids auditioning for acting schools and stuff. And I tell all my students, if you go in and you're doing your audition and you're super nervous and you mess up, make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Laugh about it. And then, because if they see you crumble under pressure, they're going to be like, oh, they can't handle it. But if you can mess up your monologue and then find a point in the monologue where you can start it and continue, and then at the very end just be like, well, bombed that.
Yeah.
That is going to look a lot better in the audition, and it's going to look a lot better on in comedy as well. Comedy is really a lot harder because you're like, okay, well, people didn't laugh at that, I must suck. But just make a joke out of it. Being like, okay, I need to go back to the drawing board on that one.
People love honesty. And,
for sure.
Yeah.
And then once you learn that the stakes for everything they're so low. Stakes for an open mic are so low. You're around other people that are just doing it, just starting out as well. And they're probably just, they're just as nervous as you are.
Yeah.
So realize the stakes are low, make a joke out of messing up if you mess up or if you don't get a big laugh, and I think you're going to come out of it a lot better and a lot less anxious.
Yeah, and my last tip for a wrap up: whenever I say a joke that doesn't work, I always go, "Oh, that was my best joke," and then people laugh. Yeah. So just finding ways to point, finding poke front of yourself can be helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
But that will do it for this episode. That's a wrap on that. Thank you for your attention.